Tonight, the Battle of New Orleans. Police clash with protesters trying to stop the demolition of public housing. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, minivans and maxi bills. Why even a minor collision in those popular vehicles could cost you plenty. A modern-day Mr. Wizard, the college professor who's become an international star on the internet.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. 2 years after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans, the debate goes on over the future of the city and how best to rebuild it. Today, that debate turned violent when opponents of a plan to tear down public housing tried to storm their way into City Hall. The story now from Mike Haas of our CBS affiliate, WWL.
Security. Enforce our rules.
The clash started in council chambers as civil rights protesters tried to stop a key vote in a long-running battle over housing projects in the city of New Orleans.
Let us in now.
The confrontation spilled into the City Hall entrance, police using pepper spray to fend off charging protesters.
Anything that occurs in that chamber right now, it cannot be said to represent the will of the people because the people are not a part of it. The people are locked out.
At issue is the destruction of 4 out of 6 housing projects in New Orleans, or approximately 4,500 apartments. Longtime residents worry that it will create a shortage of affordable housing.
Don't tear it down, and the poor people doesn't have a place to stay.
The government insists there is no shortage. They're already building new mixed-income neighborhoods.
There are right now 300 public housing units that are available to residents. There is also another 800 privately owned apartments that are available.
The housing projects have long been a center for high crime, but HUD's efforts to tear them down since Hurricane Katrina have been met with protests. But HUD insists the new housing will be an improvement.
Every family who had to relocate should have the opportunity to come back to New Orleans, but we want them to come back to housing that is a lot better than what they had before.
Well, despite the protests and all the turmoil today, minutes ago, the New Orleans City Council voted to demolish the 4 public housing developments. The vote was unanimous, 7-0. Katie?
Mike Haas from our affiliate WWL, thanks so much. Now, important news tonight about automobile safety. The latest crash tests point to big, potentially expensive problems with bumpers. Here's Thalia Shuris.
Even a tiny tap can crumple your cash flow. The newest insurance industry crash tests of minivans, the quintessential family vehicle, showed even a bump at 3 miles per hour, a toddler's walking pace, can rack up hundreds of dollars in damage. Repairs to the Nissan Quest in this simulated fender bender cost almost $2,000.
This was a 3-mile-an-hour hit. Why is there so much damage?
Well, there's so much damage in this case because the bumper bar on this vehicle ends here. The damage goes, it obviously smashes the headlamp, it bent the fender, and then underneath, it broke the radiator support.
And watch what happens when you speed up to 6 miles an hour. $3,500 in damage this time. And it's not just minivans. Mid-sized cars tested earlier this year fared even worse. Even a bump to the back of the ever-popular Honda Accord means close to $3,000 in repairs.
Many of them don't have the right strength to protect cars. They're not positioned in the right locations. And they're also not tall enough.
But bumpers were once much better. That's because of strict federal regulations put in place in 1969. Everything changed when those standards were loosened in 1982. Just take a look at how this 1981 Ford Escort fared in today's tests.
A 6-mile-per-hour jolt to its front end cost only $86 to repair. Automakers say bumpers today are designed to protect people, not cars. Thalia Ashuras, CBS News, Ruckersville, Virginia.
Now to the presidential campaign and a health scare for Republican Rudy Giuliani. He spent the night in the hospital. Byron Pitts is in St. Louis tonight covering the Giuliani campaign. Byron, how's he doing tonight?
Well, Katie, he looks fine. Giuliani is back on a private jet to New York tonight after what has been a long and difficult day for his campaign.
Mayor, how do you feel?
Politician never shy in the past. Rudy Giuliani kept his comments brief and the press at a distance as he left this St. Louis hospital late today.
Can you come talk to us for a minute? Come on over. Where's your coat?
Thank you to the hospital. They did a great job.
According to his staff, the 63-year-old felt under the weather all day yesterday as he campaigned across Missouri. Shortly after his private jet took off from St. Louis to New York last night, his condition worsened. The plane turned around. Giuliani was hospitalized and treated for what the campaign would only describe as flu-like symptoms. This afternoon, it was his wife who did the talking.
I spent most of the night on the telephone with the doctors and the wonderful nurses at Orange Jewish Hospital, and they assured me that Rudy is in very good health.
While he may be feeling better, Giuliani's standing in the national polls is getting worse, as he's all but disappeared from the national stage in recent weeks. According to the latest CBS News New York Times poll, his support has shrunk from 38% in August to 29% in October, and now sits at 22%. More problematic than his health in recent weeks have been the headlines about his personal life, his business partners, and his former police commissioner, Bernie Kerik.
The more you look at him, I think the more problems he has, and that's what we've been seeing.
Giuliani was scheduled to campaign in New Hampshire tomorrow, but instead his campaign says he will stay in the New York area to rest and see his private physician. Katie?
Byron Pitts in St. Louis tonight. Mike Huckabee weighed in today on two issues that could reinforce his conservative credentials, and that tops tonight's CBS News Campaign 08 notebook. At a meet and greet in Iowa, he said it's a tragedy that Britney Spears' 16-year-old sister Jamie Lynn is pregnant, but he praised her as well.
Apparently she's going to have the child, and I think that's the right decision.
Huckabee also said he wouldn't hesitate to display the 10 Commandments at the White House. Meanwhile, at a news conference today, President Bush came up with his own primary question for the candidates.
You can't be the president unless you have a firm set of principles to guide you. I would be very hesitant to support somebody who relied upon opinion polls and focus groups to define a way forward for a president. And so my question if I were asking questions to people running for office, what are the principles that you will stand on in good times and bad times?
The president also said he's confident the Republicans will hold on to the White House. The Bush administration is locked in a battle with California over the environment. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger said today he'll sue the EPA for blocking his state's first-in-the-nation tailpipe emissions law. And with at least 16 other states considering similar laws, that case could have a nationwide impact. Here's Sandra Hughes.
After holding the dirty distinction of smoggiest city in the country for decades, many residents in Los Angeles are ready to clear the air.
It's really incumbent on all of us to make big lifestyle changes.
Steve Glenn drives a hybrid and lives in and sells environmentally friendly homes. And just when California was on the precipice of pushing more Californians to go green and drive lower carbon emissions vehicles starting in 2009, the federal government put the brakes on. The EPA would not grant a waiver to enact the standards California wants.
I have no doubt that we will prevail because the law, science, and the public's demand for leadership is on our side.
The denial came after the federal government passed a new version of the Clean Air Act and did not want California to have its own set of rules.
There's much greater environmental benefit with 50 states abiding by this new law than 1 or 2 or 12 or 17.
California's regulations would have required a 30% cut in greenhouse gas emissions in new cars and light trucks by 2016, with the first cutback starting in 2009. The federal government regulations will require automakers to achieve an industry-wide standard of 35 miles per gallon by 2020. 16 other states are ready to adopt California's tougher standards.
Several of those states will join California in its fight against global warming by suing the EPA over this decision. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And there is much more CBS News ahead. In Washington today, there was a ceremonial swearing in for the new Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Dr. James Peake will head the agency that cares for veterans in hospitals and clinics in every state. The VA says more than 48,000 veterans who served in Iraq and Afghanistan have received a preliminary diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. But as Kimberly Dozier reports, critics say many troubled vets are not getting the help they need.
Army Specialist Sean Saunders was proud of his first 2 tours in Iraq. But midway through his 3rd tour, he snapped.
If I hear loud noises, I'm real jumpy. I get paranoid.
Distraught, lost, confused.
His parents say his breaking point was watching his best friend die while guarding a checkpoint.
He kept saying, it should have been me, it should have been me.
Texas medic Taylor Burke took Sean's turn, and the car blew up.
When he passed, it's like a part of me that's left me, and I haven't been the same since.
During home leave from Iraq, Sean talked of suicide. At Fort Hood, his home base, he asked for help. Instead of treatment, he says he got bureaucracy.
I was basically just trying to find out what was wrong with me, because I was thinking about hurting myself, thinking about hurting other people.
His dad took action, flying him to a New York Veterans Hospital. Doctors diagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder. The Army disagreed. Military police arrested him at the hospital, jailed him, and kicked him out. Veterans advocates say it's a military-wide problem where symptoms of PTSD, from substance abuse to rage to suicidal depression, are misdiagnosed or blamed on the troops themselves. These critics point to a 40% spike, 22,500 troops who've been expelled since 2003 for personality disorder. The military claims these are psychological problems the troops had before joining that surfaced from combat. Another 5,500 were expelled for misconduct like drug abuse, up 20%. It's an expedient way to replace an ailing soldier quickly. Discharging for a personality disorder takes days and costs the military nothing. A PTSD discharge can take up to 9 months, and treatment can last a lifetime. In severe cases, costing up to $2 million each. This soldier's records, obtained by CBS News, show the man was first diagnosed with PTSD. But his commander said he did not see anything really bad and ordered the diagnosis changed to personality disorder. The soldier was immediately discharged with no medical benefits. Sean Saunders is now fighting to get his PTSD recognized.
Got a lot of stuff to go through yet to get back to normal life, huh?
I'm gonna try.
Kimberly Dozier, CBS News, Washington.
And in other medical news, a disturbing link between cancer and health insurance. A new study says cancer patients without private insurance are twice as likely to die within 5 years of diagnosis. The American Cancer Society says they're less likely to get screened, and when they're finally diagnosed, their cancer has spread. Coming up next, a professor who defies one of the laws of physics, the one that says it's boring. It's not every day that a new scientific force is discovered, but we've just found one, a physics professor who's become a major tour de force on the web. As Richard Schlesinger reports, it's because he teaches gravity with levity.
One of the latest stars of the internet is not young or hip. He's 71-year-old Walter Lewin. That's Professor Walter Lewin of the MIT Physics Department.
Here is Robert. I have a certain way of lecturing which is not so conventional.
Professor Lewin also has a gift for understatement.
3, 2, 1, 0.
He's made physics a phenom worldwide.
660. 880. 880. Now I want to entertain you with something amazing.
His lectures are among the most downloaded acts on the internet, with lessons like this one.
There we go.
Explaining pendulums.
You count. This hurts.
And this one.
So what I'm going to do now, Simon, I'm going to beat you with a cat fur.
Where he uses cat fur and Simon the student.
Let me just start beating you a little bit.
To explain electrical charges.
I make them aware of things that they were never aware of. They are beginning to ask questions that they never asked before. That is a way of changing someone's life.
His fans flood him with email, including one from a budding Iraqi physicist.
You made me love USA also because you are there and MIT is there. Spreading
Lewin has learned a lesson about teaching physics. It's not rocket science. It's more like theater. You've got to keep your audience interested. And if that means risking your life to demonstrate the diminishing power of pendulums, so be it.
Physics works, and I'm still alive. See you Wednesday.
Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Cambridge, Massachusetts.
And now another physics demonstration in the form of a spectacular chain reaction crash down under. A cycling race in Melbourne, Australia went very wrong last night when a rider lost control, was thrown from his bike and spun through the air. That caused a domino effect that sent 13 other riders flying. Only 4 cyclists finished the race unscathed, but everyone walked away with nothing worse than cuts and bruises. And that cyclist who started it all, he was back on his bike today. That's our broadcast for tonight. I'm Katie Couric. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day,